class. Today we're going to create a landscape. Landscapes are one way artists can show us what a beautiful world we live in. One artist who loves to create landscapes is named Heather Galler. Let's take a look at some of her work. Heather's work is called abstract folk art. It doesn't exactly look like the things that she's painting, but she captures the ideas of the landscape. Here are a few inspirational landscapes. One thing that's amazing about landscapes is the way they capture space. Do you see how much depth these landscapes have? One thing I notice in Heather Galler's work is her use of lines. She uses lines to create depth and space in her artwork, making the buildings look far off in the distance. Whether she's drawing the idea of flowers or other crops, do you notice how she captures the idea of crops growing in fields just by using rows of color? She also likes to use farmhouses. See how the buildings are important in her work too? Do you notice the similarities between her artwork and the real world? She even captures the sun and the sky. Another thing that's important in landscapes is the horizon and the horizon line. The horizon line is where the sky meets the earth. And you can see a horizon line almost anywhere you look outside. The second choice we'll make in this project is picking where to position your horizon line. Another element that's important in Heather Galler's work is the use of barns or small buildings. Let's take a look at a few. Do you notice how simplified she makes these? Take a look at some real barns too. There's one more thing I noticed that's important in her work, and it's the trees. See how much care and love she puts into trees? Let's take a look at a few trees in nature. Do you see the similarities? Okay, that's enough looking. It's time to start doing. Let's get started on our Heather Galler inspired landscape drawing. Get started by looking at your choices and idea sheets. The first choice you need to make is the orientation of your paper. Do you want your paper to be landscape, which is where it's longer than it is tall, or portrait, where it is taller than it is wide? The next choice you get to make is where are you going to put your horizon line? I've shown you in choice 2 that you can put your horizon line in the middle of the paper, towards the top of the paper, towards the bottom of the paper, or you can even make a crazy wiggly horizon line. If you put your horizon line at the top of the paper, your houses and buildings and trees will be smaller and there will be more focus on the flowers. If you put your horizon line at the bottom of the paper, your houses and trees will be larger and your fields will be smaller. Go ahead, pause the video, get out your paper and your pen, and make your first 2 choices. When you're done, come back here and we'll talk about what's next. Welcome back. Now that you've oriented your paper and drawn your horizon line, it's time to make some more choices. Now it's your turn to add some buildings. These are just basic geometric shapes like triangles and rectangles. The buildings go above the horizon line. Your idea sheet has some examples, but you can make any kind of buildings you'd like. Alright, now it's your turn to go make some buildings. Pause the video and come back here when you're done. Welcome back. Your next step is to make some trees. You'll see I've got some with decorations on them, and also some trees are overlapping. Now it's your turn to add some trees. Pause the video and come back here when you're done. Come back. Now it's time to add some details. You can add suns, groups of trees, other details, fences, whatever you'd like. Alright, it's time to add your details. See you back here when you're done. Welcome back. I'm sure your details look fantastic. The next thing we're going to work on is our rows of flowers and crops. Did you notice how the rows of crops all pointed to the horizon line and all came together at the middle of the page? What I want you to do next is find about the middle of your horizon line and draw a line straight down your page. Go ahead and pause, make your vertical line, and I'll meet you back here. The next thing I want you to notice is how things get smaller in the distance and larger as they get closer. See how small my Sharpie looked when it was on the paper, and now how big it is when it's right up close to us? We're going to do the same thing with our flowers. At your horizon line, I want you to move just a little to the left of your center line that goes vertical. This line that we make is going to go down at an angle so that it gets wider at the bottom. Then I want you to keep making lines for the rows that scoot over just a little more to the left and then come all the way down your page. We're going to do the same thing on the right side of the center line. See how much space we've created? Now it's your turn to make some rows. Pause the video and I'll see you back here in just a minute. The last choice we get to make in our masterpiece are the patterns that we use in our rows. Remember, the patterns that are closer to us will be bigger than the patterns that are further away from us. You're going to fill all your rows with different types of patterns. Have fun!